everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. Just a reminder, I'd love you to like, subscribe, follow, and comment and rate. Oh my God, there's so many things that you can do on a podcast. Please do all of those things, please. Helps keep the podcast alive. And this week's episode came out very easily. It was just like one major rant about one fucking bitch, I'll tell you. I hope you can relate or at least enjoy. Thank you so much. Hello, it's me, Julie Kim. Welcome to Bothered, my little podcast about being bothered. Every week I share short stories.
Living like this, I might lose it.
They're mostly real situations that have happened to me. You wouldn't believe some of them, or maybe you would. Maybe you can relate.
Living like this, I might lose it.
Have you ever had a parent overstep when it comes to your child or even just another person? I've been to stores where old men have put their hands into our stroller to touch my kid's face. They're still alive, but barely. We've had comments from people, and a lot of the weirdness that I think I experienced in the first couple of years of my daughter's life was in situations with other parents where the interactions, quite frankly, seemed fake. And to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, including myself, the first few years of having a child are very weird and awkward. You are grappling with a new life, a new identity, and it's very difficult to parent. And then you're thrown into these situations at daycare or playtimes or schools with all of these other kids and these parents who you don't know. Ideally, you make friends with some of them, and then you get to support your child as they socialize and become part of the neighborhood or the community, whatever that community could be. But a lot of the times you have to meet people that, quite frankly, you don't get along with, and sometimes they are pretty fucking weird. And this is a story about one mom that I knew and had to obligatory for a while, had to see multiple times over a couple of years. And every time I saw her, it was really, really, really weird. I mean, maybe it's me, but I don't think it's me. I'll tell you the thing that was the biggest transgression in my mind. I really want to hear from you. And I want to know if you think that this is really fucking weird, because I think this is really fucking weird. This was one time that we had arranged to go with this other family. So this other guy, his wife, and their small child with me and my husband and our small child. We went for a walk. I had a stroller because my kid was small. Then we went to the park and we were kind of holding our child or holding her with one arm or two arms. And this other woman said to us, "Oh, is she walking yet?" And I said, "She's not walking yet, but she's almost there." And then this mom bent down. She crouched down with her arms open opposite of my child. And she said, "Okay, let's see if she can do it now. Let's see if she can take some steps into her arms." And then she encouraged my child to walk into her arms. My child could have taken her first steps into the arms of this fucking bitch who has no situational awareness. Like, who the fuck would even do this? I'm just going to, oh my God, I'm just going to spoiler alert it and tell you that my child fell. And I could not have been happier that my child fell. She fell. I mean, it was in the playground. It was in the sand. I mean, who knows? There could have been dog piss in the sand. There's dog piss all over the place. I don't even care if she fell in like a smushed donut or alcohol or like drunk man's piss. I don't give a shit. My daughter fell and failed to take her first steps that day. And that was just okay with me, because I don't know how I would feel to this day if the memory of my child's first steps were going into this woman who is like one of the most annoying people I have ever met. I'm sorry. And I'm happy to be judged by this. I know it would be nice to live in a world where we're like, oh, everybody is nice. Everybody has a story. You never know what someone's going through. Yeah, that's all true, but it doesn't fucking matter. You're not supposed to make another person's child take its first steps into your arms. It's preposterous to have that kind of entitlement, to think that you have a place in someone else's tiny little family unit and that you would be the reason and the like recipient of those first steps. Couldn't believe it. At the time, I don't even think I reacted. I think it just took a minute, like a day, to realize the significance of what this woman was like purposely trying to do, and then become mad about it. And I have been mad every time I think about this. it's amusing. I mean, it makes me angry, but it also amuses me that there exists somebody on the planet that thinks that they should make someone else's child walk into their arms for the first time. And maybe if it was somebody else, maybe if it was like a different situation, I might think, oh, it was just like an oversight. This is just a person who got excited. They're not weird overall. They're not selfish overall. But this person has done so many weird things, and I'm about to tell you about all of them. Is it weird to have a podcast episode about just like one single person? I think it is in this case. I'm not a competitive mom at all. I mean, I'm interested in knowing what activities your kid is, or like, what they like. I mean, not a lot. Don't talk about your kid a lot with me, because I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Show me one picture. Don't show me a whole video of like soccer or hockey. I don't care. And I don't think most people care either. I don't care if you're related to me or not. Nobody wants to hear about your kid that much. And a lot of the times when parents are talking about their kid and they're bragging, what they're actually doing is bragging about themselves. I don't think you'll find me doing that. Not because my kid isn't great. I mean, she is. I think it's more fun to talk about the weird shit she does. Like she got in trouble for swearing last week at school. I don't fucking know where she gets it. Anyways, this particular woman, and I will not name her, but I have done so in comedy before, and I think I'll probably show a clip later on. A few things that she's done. Okay, so my husband booked a trip when my daughter was very young. He booked a trip for us to go to Paris. I had never been to Paris, and our child was very young. We live here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. All of our family lives somewhere else, mostly in Toronto. So my husband wanted us to take a trip together, which I thought was very nice and romantic. And he got my parents and sister, who at the time was living by them, to take care of our daughter, who was only like 6 months old. Some of you might think that's really, really young, and I guess it is. But on the flip side, it's also a very young age where the kid barely knows that you're gone. She did quite well, and she was in the presence of people who really loved her and had this precious time with her. That's how we validate it. And I've had relatives, including one aunt, who said, how could you make your mom watch your kid for a whole week? Let me tell you, that was the best fucking week of my mom's life. And this aunt, we don't talk to her that much anymore. And this is how I deal with shit. It's not that I'm bad with confrontation. It's just that I don't believe there's a place for judging other parents, especially because all this shit is very, very hard. Anyways, so when we told her that we were going to Europe without our child, this is what she said.
She was like, oh, I could never leave my baby, but I'm a very engaged mother. And then she goes, you're brave. Yeah. She talks like that because she's English. And a fucking aunt. So.
And this very engaged mother, like, we were at their place, and after she had told us and bragged that she was a very engaged mother, she proceeded to scroll on her phone for fucking 20 minutes while her child was playing and making a mess and asking for its mother. I would never judge. I'm on my phone all the time. Look, I would never judge. Be on your phone, be on your tablet, do whatever the fuck you need to do. I'm on my phone a lot of the time. But this bitch had just finished saying that she was such an engaged mother. And she said it like she was really bragging. She was really trying to project superior mother. And like, for what reason? I don't judge. I don't even give off that I'm judging you. I mean, I'm looking for funny shit, and she definitely gave it to me. But she was on her phone for like 20 minutes, totally ignoring her child. But she really wanted me to know. She really, really wanted me to know that she was a very engaged mother. Is that it? No, that's not even it. One time we were at a campground. They came by, and I had not seen this woman for a few months. So I said, hello, insert name. I just said, oh, hi, how's it going? She did not even say hello to me. She just goes, did you get your hair done? I don't know if you can tell, but I am not a natural blonde. And I was in one of those phases where I got my hair lightened a lot. So she asked if I had gotten my hair done. And clearly she knew that I got my hair done because there's no amount of sunlight or other natural process that would have turned my hair not only blonde, but into like very clear highlights. I very clearly had gotten highlights done. Did you get your hair done? And I said, yeah, I got my hair done. She goes, oh, I haven't been to the salon for years since I had my son. And what I should have said was, yeah, it looks like it. You look like shit. And also, like, you're not too busy to get your hair done. If you don't want to, if you don't prioritize it, that's fine. If you don't want to dress up, I don't dress up a lot of the time. I don't do my hair. I haven't washed my hair in 3 days, everybody. Okay. I'm not even ashamed to say it. But to come at me and to ask me a question so you could set me up to be seen as someone who makes time for frivolous things. I'm an entertainer, by the way. I will always make time for those things, except this week I was very busy. Just to set me up so you can tell me that you're such an engaged mother that you haven't had time to go to the salon for years is fucking bullshit, and it makes you a terrible person. Also, I want to say this person is not a stay-at-home mother. This woman works, maybe not in something absolutely fulfilling, but I don't give a shit. She had a school-aged child, and before that kid went to school, that child was in daycare. So you're telling me that you haven't had time to go to the salon, even though you haven't been home with your child full-time in years, is again not something I would judge, but it's equally not something that you should be bragging about or holding against me just because I do get my hair done. Oh, what a fucking bitch. Anyways, that was one. Another time we had gone on a walk. Oh, this is earlier in the day when she had tried to make my child take its first steps into her arms. We were walking, we stopped somewhere, and I gave my daughter a bottle to drink because she was still on the bottle. And this woman looked over and she goes, oh, is that breast or is that formula? Like, who the fuck even asked that question? I don't even remember which it was, because I'll tell you, I did breastfeed. I breastfed a lot in the beginning because it burns like 600 calories. Of course I'm going to fucking breastfeed. And sure, not everybody can breastfeed, but I could. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm really tired of this thing where I have to like pretend to be, oh, I'm so grateful I was able to breastfeed. A lot of women breastfeed. A lot of people don't breastfeed. What I did was I breastfed and I did formula at the same time because I wanted my daughter to be easy. Okay, we were going to go away to Europe, and I'm not going to stockpile like a week's worth of breast milk and then take it to Toronto. Like, I was going to also get her used to formula. So she was on both, and I don't even remember what was in the bottle, but maybe just because I wanted to see what she was going to say, I might have just said formula, because I honestly don't give a shit what you think. I don't care if you breastfeed or if you formula feed. There's nothing wrong with you if you do one versus the other. I just happen to do both. I think the main point is that she was so interested in whether I was breastfeeding or formula feeding. I would never even bother. I wouldn't even ask because I think it's a rude question. I wouldn't even ask because I don't give a fuck what you're doing, but she really cared. It just occurs to me right now that she is known for being pro breastfeeding, because a year or two before that, I had a surprise birthday party for my husband and invited this person only because she was attached to her husband, who actually has been kind of like a nice guy and somebody that my husband likes. So they were invited, and they brought their child, who at the time was, I think, like 4 or 5. And it was a bunch of other people also who were normal. And we were just having a nice dinner at a place that we used to go to a lot. It's called Zeffirelli's in downtown Vancouver. They have some really nice Italian food, and we had a big table of like 12 people, and they had brought the only child, which is fine. And this woman, like, as she was eating, and her kid beside her eating like full on food, like he was eating pesto gnocchi. He had a drink. But once in a while, he would come up to his mom and ask for milk, and she would just sit there and she'd keep eating, and she'd just pull out a tit for him to like stand beside her and just take a few sucks of her milk. And then he'd like go back to eating his normal food and drink. So he was fully capable of eating other food but she was at this point a beverage option that he took advantage of once in a while. And I will tell you, everybody at the table noticed. Everybody that night after dinner and the next day texted me to be like, yo, thanks for inviting us, but what the hell was up with that woman? And this is how much I did not register or care. I didn't notice. Like, I don't think I noticed. If I did see it, it didn't register to me as something weird because I truly don't give a shit what other people do for parenting. I'm not going to judge. I also didn't have a child yet, so I didn't know that it was very fucking weird to have a child who fully eats with a fork and knife and drinks from a glass, not even with a straw or sippy cup, and then can just come over and have like some extra dairy out of his mom's teats. I didn't know that was weird. Looking back, I realized that's a little fucking weird. But they acted like it was not weird, which makes it even more fucking weird. Anyways, the totality of all of these situations leaves me to believe that this woman is a little bit off of her rocker. And none of this would be grounds for me to shit on someone. I like people who are a little bit different. I don't really care. I'd rather be around someone interesting than non-interesting and like who does what they want instead of like follow the pack. But the thing that is at the root of my dislike of this person is the comparison and the judgment and the need to like be on top. Do you know what I mean? Be the one who the kid takes its first steps to, or be the one to judge about breastfeeding or bottle feeding, or be the one to brag with this fake martyrdom of not making time in the last few years to go to the salon because you're such an engaged parent. And look, I know, again, the first few years are weird. It's tough. And this person apparently had some personal issues that she was going through. But guess what? I don't care. Going through issues like your own personal shit is not a reason to pit other people against you and need to sound or look like or seem like the better parent. It just makes you look more fucking pathetic. And as a result, we don't hang out with them anymore. It's not because like I'm afraid to be seen as less. See me as less. I don't care. I stopped breastfeeding at about 6 months. You know why? Because I was fucking tired of it. Okay. I lost the weight and then I was like, I'm good. This is taking up a lot of time. All right. And I don't do things very well. My husband and I potty trained very late because we didn't want to be those weird people who ran around behind their like 9-month-old kids with like a plastic potty and paranoid about what they were going to do. We potty trained probably in the 99th percentile. And I mean in a bad way when it comes to timelines. Like she was in a diaper for very long. Okay. I don't even know if at the end she was fitting in diapers because we had to tape them on. But you know what? Potty training we did at the very end, and it took like 2 weeks because at that time she learned very, very quickly. I think we only had to change the sheets like 2 times because she was 9. No, she wasn't. She's not even 9 now. But look, we took our time because we parent in our own way. Judge us. We don't really give a shit. Okay. We honestly don't. But this person is just so much like about them. Do you know what I mean? I remember like walking around downtown and she would make it all about her. She'd be like, oh, after I take my long maternity leave, maybe I'll do a career change. Maybe I'll go back to med school, but it's so expensive. I'm like, I don't give a shit about your problems. Like, if your only desire is to trauma dump on me, she would never ask anything of me unless it was something that she could latch on and compare herself with in a better light. But at all other times, she was just like telling me about her problems, her job existential crisis, her not liking that she looks old, and I don't like give a shit on her. And I certainly don't believe in like feeling bad about yourself and then trying to feel better at other people's expenses. I think that's what is at the heart of it. Anyways, we just don't hang with this person anymore because that's bad vibes to me. I also want to know, is this normal? Is it normal to have even one person like this in your life? Have you experienced this kind of like weirdness and comparative judgment from another mom or dad? What do you do about it? My solution was one, to do jokes about it, also to do a podcast, but then also to just like eliminate this person completely, because it's just so like, it's sad actually. I like being angry. I love being enraged, but it's so sad. This person is like so sad, and I can't be around sad. It is not my energy. I like to be around joyful people, and if people are miserable, at least I love if they're smart or at least interesting or funny. But this was just a blah person who was trying to like make themselves look good. To who? To me? Why do you care about my opinion? I don't care what you're doing with your life. Oh, it's so annoying. Tell me if I'm alone. What would you do? What have you done? Thanks for listening to my rant. Thank you again for tuning into this week's episode of Bothered, my little podcast about being bothered. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, and comment, and share with a friend. The podcast is really growing, and that helps me to keep doing it. I just finished my Canadian tour of like 12 cities, and I'm very happy. The last one was on Friday in Vancouver. It was super full and super magical, and I'm super tired, but I'd love to thank everybody for coming out, and the sponsors for the show. I'll shout them out again. Organica and Boba Run here in Vancouver, and also Ome, very amazing dried fruits. And wait, I didn't describe what Boba Run was. It's like my favorite Korean boba in town. And Organica, you probably know, it's all over Costco. Really, really great supplements and electrolytes. Everybody who walked away from the show got a 25 pack of Organica sachets. They were very generous, and I hope everybody stays hydrated. Anyways, I've got some more shows coming up before I wrap for now for the summer. Next week is June 6th at the Ice House in Pasadena. Get your tickets. And then I'm going to go to New York later on in June. First, West Nyack on the 19th. In New York State, and then West Side Comedy Club in New York City on June 21st. And that is it until the summer. I've got a lot more announcements for the fall coming. I hope to have them next week. The only date I've got right now that I can announce is December 11th at Helium in Philadelphia. Sorry I had to reschedule that, but again, big announcements coming up. I'd love to hear from you also. bothered@juliekimcomedy.com. I've started to get some amazing emails from some of you who really relate to some past episodes. They're getting spicier, everybody. I think it's because I'm angrier. Am I angrier? I'm going to try to be as funny as I am angry, but there's a lot of shit in life to be annoyed about, and I hope that we can experience those things together.
Living like this, I might lose it. Living like this, I might lose it.